Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight high up here and the overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. So I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here. And so we started off, we had these two legs up here. It was a little bit tricky finding the overnight high at the very beginning because, it was kind of just chopping around that area. It wasn't very clear, but, I adjusted it around a little tiny bit as more price action formed, and I ended up leaving it here after we got these, tests of it over here. And so, I started trading here. After we had this push down, it became a little bit more clear, and it was clear that we had our overnight level here somewhere, and we pushed lower here, and what I was wanting was 2 attempts to reverse higher. That way I can get a clear failed second entry. Now, we just had these 2 legs up, and then we pushed off of what just formed the overnight high. So we can expect a reversal pattern here. And we just have to make sure we, enter on a good entry for it. And so ideally, we would have pushed down maybe a little bit more here and then gotten 2 clear legs retesting the overnight high. That would have been great. Which even if we could have still gotten something, we push up here, we could have gotten a break and another leg up, something smaller. But the point is, this is a good place for a failed second entry to look to reverse. But we don't get that. We just end up pushing higher here. We get this breakout pullback. We bounce right off that overnight high, but it's just a first entry. So even this right here, I don't view that as a second entry long. That's just a little tick lower. This is 1 leg down. If we could have, maybe broken out a little bit further, it would have been easier to get 2, decent legs down. We could have gotten 2 of these legs down, starting from up higher. That would have been great, as a breakout pullback. But just 1 leg is not enough. So we push on up here. Now we get these 2 legs back here, which I do want to draw another structure really quick. So I started drawing this to see how it holds. Now, it held pretty well to where I was going to keep an eye on it. And we had this first entry long, second entry long. Now, this first leg down, it was still within this uptrend. And so, it was only that second leg that was breaking it. And so I didn't like how it was just a retest of this level. It wasn't even a very consistent price level, this, range high right here. So what I was hoping for was this act as 1 leg, and then we get a break, and then from here, after that break, I was wanting another leg down, because then we could get 2 clear legs down, retesting the overnight high. That would be a really good, that'd be the most ideal form of a breakout pullback, is 2 big legs retesting it. And so we did not get that, unfortunately. We did just kind of get choppy. We pushed higher here. And then we, started getting choppy right here. Now, the reason I don't like this fade, it's a little tiny fade of this, is because this structure, it has 3 bounces off the lows. And it did end up holding, or it really has, 1, 2, 3, 4 almost, a little tiny 4th bounce. So even though this break in a new high for this uptrend, which I'm going to make it a little bit, I'm going to move this out of the way for a sec just to make this one more clear. So when this uptrend has this break and new high, this is obviously a very small picture, because when you zoom out, you can tell this is all just part of the same, same move up. But so when I see that small break in a new high, what that's telling me is you don't want to buy high on this little breakout right here, because even though it's a small picture, trade, you just played this uptrend out on a small picture. And so when an uptrend plays out, you can expect a reversal. Even if since it's a small picture break to new high, you might expect a small picture reversal. But I'm not going to take this long right after making a new high, because this is an area that you could expect a reversal. You immediately closed out of this EMA. You did push back higher here, but it really is just 1 leg down. So there's just a few things wrong with it. It's kind of just buying high. If we could have gotten a couple more legs down, we could have maybe gotten a long, but you don't want to enter on that. And then, of course, you get this higher low here. At that point, there's no room anyway. And then it continues to be a little bit choppy. And then finally, here is when the price action started getting a little bit more clear. So this, we had these attempts to fade the overnight high. These are the first real significant attempts to fade. And so here we had this first leg down and then second leg down, but even when we bounced on after that first leg down, these lows became very clear, plus the EMA was getting flat, we were clearly going sideways. And so when we got the second leg down, it was clearly 2 attempts trying to fade the overnight high, and a failure to fade is a great failure entry. And so I did not like this bar right here because it was blocked by STT, and that's basically it. I wanted to see some bullish momentum, and before this spiked up, I was kind of wanting even just something to hold above and then get a smaller entry, around the EMA to the highs, which that ended up happening. It just spiked up, and I ended up entering after a pretty big bar, but because I still entered at the EMA. But when it spiked up like that, that was confirming to me, okay, this really is a failure to fade. 2 attempts to fade, measured move met right there, off these lows, clearly failing to fade this overnight high. And so I liked how it closed above the EMA there. I kind of screwed up when I was trying to enter. Somehow it was late. Like, I got distracted for a sec. It was already pushing higher here, and so I put in a limit order, and I didn't get filled on the limit order until this red bar pulled back, which I'm glad it pulled back there, of course. And so, we had this measured move higher here, target within that measured move, and also at these highs, within those highs there. So this is a great failure trade. It was, once again, 2 attempts to fade the overnight high off these lows, measured move met, rushing back above the EMA. That's a great looking entry to ride to the other side of that channel. So we continue higher here. We get choppy at that channel, then we burst on out, get this correction here. Notice there's a couple legs down, but we don't even reach the EMA, so there's really no point. There's no chance. We push on up. It starts getting choppy up here. We get this first entry long, and then we start making a second entry long, and then we just plummet on down. And so then here we get this sharp leg down. And now I do want to point out at this point on the bigger picture, we have this uptrend, break, new high, and then we immediately start reversing back down. Now, you do want to be, even though the EMA has been, up, you want to be more careful of your longs in this area, because the uptrend did play out. And even though at this point right here, you can see, that it's, been trending up all day, it's not that far from the overnight high. It could still easily reverse back down and turn back into a range day. Uptrend, break, new high. And so the point is, even when it looks very bullish, if the uptrend has technically played out with a break and a new high, you do want to be careful of going long. And so when we have this first leg down here, what I was wanting was a second leg down and then a rush back above the EMA. That way you can get some kind of reversal pattern to continue with the bullish momentum, kind of like how here we had those 2 attempts to fade. This could act as 2 attempts to reverse from the uptrend playing out, and then if it fails and rushes back above, you can continue with the momentum from the failure. And so, after that first push down, we have this break, second push down. We could have looked for a short right here. Unfortunately, I didn't really like any of these. There was this lower high right here, but this is still too small picture to enter on, because you have this first leg down, and then at this point right here, when you have this second leg down, before it's really that big, this can still count easily as the second leg down, and it could easily just bounce up from there, continue higher, and then this ends up being enough as a second leg down. And so I didn't want to enter short right there. It was just one of those areas where it's a little bit confusing to buy and sell at the same time. It's a little bit tempting to look both ways, so I decided I should just wait until we're kind of out of this middle area. Part of me is wanting to short for this measured move. The other one is wanting me to, get along with the reversal failure. And so I just ended up avoiding all of it. It was getting really choppy in this area anyway. It's completely sideways. You can basically draw a range for that. And so then we push on out, get this correction here. It doesn't reach the EMA even. And I do want to point out that I did start to draw this, and it had a couple of bounces off the lows, and then it had a few bounces, 1, 2, 3 off these highs right here. And so there clearly was something there, but it didn't last very long. It wasn't very confirmed off the lows. And so it's pretty clear that we are still playing this uptrend playing out and then reversing back down. So Ideally from here, what I would look for is two major legs up, trying to push up higher, and then you continue with this momentum, because it's clear that price does not want to continue higher, at least at this point right here. And so when the uptrend plays out and you just burst on through that measured move, that's telling you we are reversing. And so the most ideal entry would be two legs back to continue with the momentum from the reversal. So anyway, that's really going to do it for this video. Maybe that could happen in the form of like a, two legs back to the, to this right here, which I know it never really held as a range, but sometimes it'll go back and retest a previous swing. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to stick around. I'm done for the day, and I appreciate you watching. I wish I could have gotten another trade. After this happened, it felt good. We had a good bit of, some volume, but it ended up dying off pretty fast again. It's just been slow lately, it feels. So anyway, I appreciate you watching once again, and I'll see y'all next time.